All right. Good afternoon, everyone. How y'all doing? I want to read um, "True to Life Christmas Miracles." Um, Hopefully, you like them, and we'll go on from now. Christmas is a time for bringing people together from all walks of life. It's about spending cheer in whatever you can, but life doesn't always go our way, and many of us suffer hardships. We hope when we all are hardest hit in these times, that something or someone might turn in something around. So here you go, a list of well, it says 10 miracles, but I don't know, miracle stories that really happened, but I don't know if I'll be able to read all of them or not. So here we go. A letter to Santa Claus answered. We have all been in a place in our lives when things were not going well. At all the very least, we have seen friends or loved ones in that tough spot. It is truly awful when someone hits the rough patches and can't provide for a family, especially for children. Well, that is where Rosa Jerez was during Christmas 2011. Since her husband had been unemployed for a stretch of time, they couldn't afford a real Christmas. She decided to continue a family tradition of sending letters to Santa via balloon. She had her daughter write a letter about what she wanted for Christmas. Before her daughter waved goodbye to the balloon, as it turns out, the letter knew right where to go. Northern California, a paper landed on a ranch belonging to Lane Sanderson. He was riding an ATV along with his son when they came upon the letter. After having a ranch hand translate the words, Sanderson knew just what to do. He called the Reyes family, informed Rosa that they had found the letter. Lane's wife, Julie, went out with her own daughter and pick out clothes and a doll before sending the items via express to the Reyes family. Thanking the family profusely, Rosa spoke to the interviewers through tears of joy. I was very much surprised. It is like a miracle happened on Christmas miracle. Strange things happen on Christmas. You never know. That balloon landed where it should have been, like they said. All right, Charles survives a deadly flu. It's next. In St. Peters, Florida, in 2015, a young girl who fell ill. Her parents first noticed a slight fever on Sunday, December 13th. After that day, she got better. Unfortunately, it was false comfort for the family. After a few days passed, the little Gammy became very pale, and then her toes and fingers grew cold. Recognized the seriously of the situation, the parents rushed the daughter to the emergency room. Unfortunately, Gammy went into cardiac arrest, forcing the doctor to perform CPR. After endurance 45 minutes, Gammy's heart began to beat on its own once again. She went on to experience a full recovery and nothing short of what the doctor describes as a miracle. Car crash victim speaks again. Some miracles are the result not of choice, but of a modern technology going further than ever before. Since a crash that threw her from her car in 1996, Jolene Hartley had been paralyzed, unable to walk or to talk, and fed through the tube. She was only able to communicate through simple noises. Her mother, Louise, found a device which could translate eye movements into words. Though it was very expensive, they were able to afford it through this $1 million insurance settlement they had received. When the device finally arrived on December 2017, Louise asked her daughter if she would like the Christmas sweater that Louise was wearing. Though the miracle technology, Jolene responded to the question for the first time in those long 2 decades. Her mother called it a Christmas miracle, she said. It was God's way of telling me that she had finally achieved what she needed since the accident. Next one, freezing puppy rescue. On the lighter side of Christmas miracle, we found ourselves in Edmond, Alberta, where Tisa Lee got her call about a puppies who who does not love a call about puppies. Okay. The problem is those animals were lost and alone outside the city, freezing in the winter weather. Tisha promptly drove to the location roughly 90 kilometers or 50, let's go by 50 miles, 56 miles away, found 5 unweighted puppies shivering in the cold. She quickly scooped them up and drove to the nearest physician, a veterinarian. The on-call professional was able to help the puppies recover quickly once they were in a warm home and ready to access the food. The puppies had to be fed small meals with bottles as they had been starved for so long that they could not take solid food. One of the puppies, Ruby, struggles to walk to her food. Tisha posted a video of that sad, adorable event to White Coat Homeless Animal Rescue Foundation on Facebook, showing the world a very lucky recovery. That was nice, saving those puppies. WestJet brings cheer to Fort McMurray. One of the best parts of Christmas as a holiday is how to bring people together. We are all used to faceless corporations being greedy and cruel, but after all, wildfires in 2016 that hurled the town of Fort McMurray, Alberta, into chaos. WestJet, the massive airline company, did something thoughtful to put the devastation into prospect. Nearly 2,500 homes had been leveled, and 100,000 residents could not return home for the holidays. To return the Christmas spirit, to scorch the town, WestJet set up a snowflake Sura, for everyone in the city. The company gave out gifts and even managed to wrangle singer Johnny Reed for a live performance. The very illusionist and busy Santa Claus even arrived, delivering some very special gifts. Rye Popjoy had lost his set of Harry Potter novels, which he loved greatly. In the fire, Ray was given 2 gifts from the collection of the WestJet worker, who was also a fan of Harry Potter. She donated to him her own golden snitch of Quidditch goggles. WestJet, a statement saying how connected they were to the community. Also, the vice president of marketing communications said, "This year we wanted Christmas to mean just a little more." Lost dog travel, 1,600 miles. 600 miles, she is. Most of us have panic at a prospect of losing a pet. Whether it's a dog, a cat, or even a turtle being rescued. But being responsible for animal well-being makes it that much more worrisome. Ashley Powers from Spruce Grove, Alberta, was unfortunately enough to lose her dog, Frankie. It was horrible. I was in disbelief. She reports she remains in that horror for 5 whole months as she sent flyers hundreds of miles away in hope of being reunited with her pet. When she had given up all hope of finding him, she received a call from Langley Animal Protection Society. As it turns out, they had found Frankie running around Albertsford, British Columbia, which over 1,600 miles away. Fortunately, Power did not have the means to pick Frankie on the plane, so Laps gave help and find a truck driver to return the dog such a distance, and he was happy to do so. That's reason I am doing this. He's living right up and was all over her. The driver said after delivering Frankie back to Powers, ecstatic to have her dog back. Just before the holiday, she said to an interview, it was Christmas miracle for us, absolutely. The canoer saves drowning teen. Playing outside in the snow and ice is the part every child Christmas experience, unless, of course, they live where it does not snow, which they, quite frankly, unfortunately, but the deep snow, its bitter temperature, are always fun. 2 teens from Duncan, Nebraska found out the hard way. While visiting one teen's grandmother, the boys went outside and walked across the icy lake. They both crashed through the thin ice and plunged into the freezing water. All you could feel was the outline of a body. One boy said the boys were lucky in the area was Rick Blesson and Vid Canoer. Blesson heard the boys hollering and went out in his canoe, giving life jackets to the teens. He held on to the boys until the emergency team pulled all 3 of them ashore using a rope tied to a canoe. One of the boys reported that he didn't expect the teens to last 10 minutes if Blesson hadn't arrived. The teen was not wrong in the freezing waters and expected the time of survival less than 15 minutes. As a dangerous scenario to be, sure, which is why the residents of Duncan Village think of Blessing's rescue as a Christmas miracle. We always hear people freezing death in cold waters and dropping through thin ice. A hit and run is a miracle. A Christmas is a time to celebrate with the family and friends, right? It is the worst time for a tragedy to strike, and it is the same time of the year that everybody should be safe and warm. Unfortunately, tragedy is exactly what the Brooks Servo family had to endure for months. On October the day of 2013, 10-year-old Taylor Brooks Servo was enjoying a ride on his bike. A man who was either impatient or under influence drove onto the sidewalk, hitting and throwing that boy to the ground. The boy suffered a cracked pelvis, a head trauma, and fortunately falling into coma. For 2 long months, his family and the community hoped for the full recovery. And then 2 days before Christmas, just as they were about to celebrate the winter holidays without their son, he woke up, although Taylor was dependent on caregivers at the time of his family, was elated to see him conscious. Over many months, Taylor was recovered a little each day. An event was held to show love and support for him, as well to raise funds for the family and to make the recovery easier. It is a challenge every day. His mother told reporters his first words were, when he woke up are, "Okay, Mom, I'm ready to rock." Local worker gives up Christmas party. Not all miracles have to start out awful sometimes. Miracles can be small, as in a nice thing that people do for each other. There was no better example for those acts of kindness. And then employee of the emergency company in Medicine Hat, Alberta, with no prompt other than the holiday spirit. Those workers showed up to local elementary school with a truck of Christmas gifts for the kids in every grade. But the cherry on top was Santa Claus himself showed up to help hand out the gifts. One of the students even got exact what he was hoping for, a sweet Hot Wheel car. One of the best parts of this story is how the worker funded this endeavor. Instead of hosting their Gary Christmas party, he spent over $10,000 on pile of presents. Go giving further, they brought $3,000 to fund school development. Superintendent Mark Davidson told the local news, "It's a pretty amazing gift to our school." Now, here's a good one. A Christmas truce. This is from World War I. Both sides celebrate Christmas. Hold on. Hello. Yes. Oh, okay. I don't know. I just bought. Don't know what else was wrong with it. I just bought the truck. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Okay. 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 Let me find out and see what I can find out about a rim. All right. Thank you. Bye. Well, let's read this Christmas miracle. This is from World War II. World War I was a violent, bloody conflict. According to some of the estimates, it claimed to live lives of more than 20 million people who were wounded, for their 20 million over the 4-year span. But what does this have to do with Christmas miracle? Well, the Great World War One, as it was called at the time, had something very special happen during its first year. While soldiers had been killing each other for many months, it stopped on Christmas Day, 1914. Not because any leaders and politicians had secured ceasefire, but because the soldiers on the ground needed some cheer. That morning, Allied enlisted hundreds heard the word "Merry Christmas." It was from their fellow soldiers, but from across no man's land, and space between trenches, and German soldiers had crossed the field to meet with their enemies. Of course, the Allied soldiers feared it was a trap, but seeing the other side unarmed, Allied soldiers greeted their enemy soldiers, sang carols, traded gifts of cigars, pudding, and even played a game of soccer. To see such spirit among the suffering inspire us all to be kinder in life. At least that's what we hope. Well, there you go. Hey, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. And